Good morning, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the Less Eco Overwhelm, More Eco Impact workshops. Today we are doing workshop 1, which is all about easing your eco anxiety, easing your eco overwhelm, any distress you might be feeling. Over the past couple of weeks on Instagram, I have been chatting with various people about eco-anxiety and chatting with Be the Future. We're speaking to their psychologist, and she talked about the term distress, this general kind of unease that we feel, and that's all normal is what we're here to say. So welcome. Whether you are on Facebook, whether you are on YouTube, I'd love for you to pop in the comments and say hello. Whether you are watching live or whether you are watching on replay, I'd also love for you to hop in the comments and say hello. Now, remember, I'm broadcasting using StreamYard. So you have to click on a link for, certainly for Facebook, I'm not sure about YouTube, to kind of pick up your name. Otherwise, I'll just see you as Facebook user. If you want to do that, that's fine. I will just only be able to say hello as Facebook user. Anyway, welcome. I hope you are well, and I will get started. So I'll bid you farewell from my face, and I will switch to the slides so you can see those better. And let's begin. But don't worry. Although you can't see my face anymore, I can still see comments coming in. So feel free to pop them in there. If there's any questions that you have along the way, there is a little bit of a time delay between what I'm saying and then the comments back. So hopefully I won't go too far on before I can answer your questions. Right, okay, so let's get started. Excuse the tech. I have tested it, but I may also be, technology is like, it may not also work. So let me introduce myself. Great. Slide 2 has come, so that's good. Hi, I am Elena. You've probably seen me on Facebook, Instagram, probably they're the main places, or in your emails. And I too am juggling eco-overwhelm along with eco-action. I am a mum of 2. I am eco-confident. I would count myself as confident. That's probably because I have been researching and looking into this and working things out for a good kind of 3 or 4 years, and really focusing on the environmental side. However, I am eco-imperfect. None of us are perfect, and in the workshop tomorrow, we will see why that's okay, and that's actually a good thing. However, I am trying to make a difference. Although I'm imperfect, I want to make a difference. So my background, my eco journey, as it were, other than some very dodgy hairstyles and, I think you'll agree, amazing outfits me and my sister were wearing back then, with a lovely thick fringe. One of my favorite things to do as a child was to go with my mum, normally my mum, sometimes my dad, and my sister, and we would go to the bottle bank. There was also a can bank as well, and we would collect up our glass bottles, and I don't even remember how often it was. Once a week, once a fortnight, we would go to the bottle bank and we would sort them and we would throw them in. The winner, the prize was really the glass bottles, because they made a nice smashed. Cans, second favorite, because at least they made a clunk, and plastic bottles, well, you know, they were the losers' prize, weren't they? And also, alongside that, my parents would, and this is actually a photo from, I think, about 2 years ago, what my parents always did and still do is any envelopes that they get with anything in, they tear up and they clip together and they use as a pad, as a writing pad. So that was mine and my sister's. Well, not that specific one, but that was the style of the things that we would do our drawings on. So actually, when I look back at it, the eco seed was planted pretty early on. However, it continued. In secondary school, in my 6th form, I joined Earth Action, which is the sort of junior branch of Friends of the Earth. And we would go around the school, and we made sure it was generally my 6th form, so over the period of 2 years, we made sure every single classroom had a box for collecting paper in. We painted all of those green. And then we would go around with a big trolley and collect those up, and they would go into some sort of storage cupboard and be recycled, I'm sure, by the council. And more recently, because my eco credentials aren't only from like the 1980s and 1990s, I have completed two, I suppose, climate-focused trainings. One was the Carbon Literacy Project, where I am now official stamp carbon literate, and the other was actually it's changed its name to Climate Fresque, the Climate Collage, which is a game, sort of a workshop game where you learn more about the causes and consequences of climate change. And I'm a trained facilitator in that. So that's sort of where I'm at. I've got a comment here. My dad was a printer, so my drawing materials were his cut-offs for his jobs too. I know. I actually have sort of implemented that here with my kids. And we did go through a phase of having a big pad on the fridge that they could sort of use all the backs, and I just need to get around to scooping up a few more offcuts. And I think it was easier when they were a bit younger because they did more drawings, and so there's more other side. So that's me. Right, okay, give me a second. I realized I didn't open this this YouTube video. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to skip this because it will take me too long. Apologies for that. Hang on. So you are in the right place in these workshops. Maybe I'll show you the video at the end. If you care, if you are feeling overwhelmed or anxious, that you want to feel hope, you want to take more action, you want to learn more, you want to change your habits, but you need focus and you need support. So you're in the right place, and hopefully that's all of you guys. I know it's me. So what are we going to be focusing on? So in this workshop one, excuse me, I just need a sip of water. We're first of all going to be looking at our emotional response. We're going to be looking at anxiety, and then specifically eco-anxiety. We're then going to be looking at how we ease that eco-anxiety. And then finally, we're going to end with hope and action. Right, so get the most from these sessions. Pretend that you've paid for them. Block out the time in your diary, show up, listen, participate, and take away any actions. Now, you're in your welcome email. You should have got a link to the workbook accompanying this. You don't need to use that, but if you want to, there's a link in your welcome email, and at various points you'll see, if you kind of read alongside that, there'll be some of the questions we ask kind of here. You'll be able to fill them in and think about them for yourselves. Note down any questions. We have a specific Q&A session on Thursday, but any questions that I can answer on the fly, I obviously will. And also bring your best energy. Alone it is overwhelming, but together we really can do this. So bring your best energy. Right, who loves prizes? So you can win, being part of these workshops, this great Eco Action Prize. And essentially it is a scholarship to the 10-week, just a little bit more eco course, which is kind of really the next step on from this. And on Thursday, I'll be launching that, and I can tell you a bit more about it in these workshops. It's videos, challenges, recipes, meditations, everything you need to kind of support your overwhelm, but to take action. And also we learn a lot about plastic pollution, biodiversity decline, zero waste, and also climate change. In addition, you can win 50 trees being planted in your name through a company I use called Ecology. And that is enough to offset the average yearly carbon output of a UK citizen. And that's over the life of the 25-year life of the trees. And finally, something to help you get started, a zero waste plastic free dental kit containing various kind of bamboo and plastic free options there. So you can win that. And I will tell you a little bit later on, well, towards the end of the workshops, how you can win that. So I think we're about ready to get started. But as we kick off, I want to highlight that one of the key themes that you will keep seeing again and again and again, and I really think this is something that you should keep in mind every day as we navigate our eco journey, and that is balance. And let me explain more. On the one hand, we've got these couple of quotes from Jane Goodall. Every individual matters. Every individual has a role to play. Every individual makes a difference. Cumulative small decisions, choices, actions make a very big difference. So what that's saying is that it sometimes seems like if we choose that plastic-free option, if we turn off those lights, if we go for the plant-based meal over a meat meal, what difference does it make? We're such a small part of this big picture. And she's saying to us, it matters. We matter. Our decisions matter. So that's great. That gives us hope that what we do counts. However, that can add inadvertently to this sense of overwhelm, this sense of like weight on our shoulders that we can feel. So, however, on the other hand, this great quote from the Zero Waste Chef: do not feel guilty for a supply chain that you did not create. You didn't go into that supermarket and wrap those cucumbers in plastic, did you? If there are times when we can't be, and then again, we'll focus on this tomorrow even more, but if there are times when you can't, when you need to just buy that quick meal, that's okay, because yes, we can apply pressure. Yes, we have power as consumers. Yes, we can lobby people and we can try and change the direction of this ship. But we didn't create the supply chain. And if we don't have another option, we shouldn't feel guilty. Okay, so let's look at our emotional response. I asked in a survey last year and again at the beginning of this year, and I'm sure a lot of this will resonate with you. When you see the environment in the news, how do you feel? And let's do a quick flick through of some of the things that we see. We see we're running out of time, gorillas, hurdles to clean energy, wiping money out of the economy, destroying Arctic, chemical pollution, or die. It's all pretty depressing, isn't it? So no wonder at times that we feel that it's just all too much, that it's all too overbearing. Now, just excuse me. I'm going to try and make this a bit. Does that make it a bit clearer? Hopefully it's not too fuzzy. It's a bit fuzzy on my screen. If anyone can pop in the comments whether it's fuzzy, and I will try and do something about that if it is fuzzy. I don't know whether, maybe it's just, hopefully it's just my screen. Sorry, I've just stopped on this very depressing screen. So let's move on. So how does it make you feel? So in January 2022 and April 21, these were some of the answers that came back. I'm sad, concerned, angry, ashamed. I'm willing to make changes personally, but I'm despondent overall. I'm very anxious. I'm sad, angry, unsettled, worried, frustrated, disheartened. Okay. Again and again. Sad, a tiny bit fuzzy, but still readable. I wonder whether I can write. I might. If you don't mind seeing my face again, I am going to, let's see if I can, I'm going to stop the screen share. Is that going to flick? Actually, let me put it back onto me. Hello. Let me see if I can stop the screen share and I will start again. Okay, let's see if I can make this. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Oh, hang on a minute. It's not that one, is this it? Here we go. Right, share that. How's that? Let's see if I can. Is that a bit clearer? It's still a bit fuzzy, isn't it? I do apologize for that. Okay. I'm afraid we're going to have to push on through. Apologies. I don't know why it's doing that. I've got all my bandwidth set up, but anyway, let's move on. So this is how we feel. It's not great. So anxiety and eco-anxiety. So what is anxiety? I mean, we all hear about it. Essentially, it's a fight, flight, or freeze response to a dangerous or risky situation. Okay, it has its place. Now, what are some of the symptoms? They can include racing thoughts, uncontrollable overthinking, trouble concentrating, fear of dread, panic, or impending doom, feeling irritable, heightened state of alertness, trouble sleeping, changes in our appetite, just wanting to escape the situation, and disassociation, that you aren't really connected to your body, that you are watching things happening around you, but you're not really feeling it. So why is anxiety and eco-anxiety not a productive feeling? Well, eco-anxiety is basically, because I don't know about you, certainly for me, I have woken up feeling dread and panic and impending doom about the environment, especially at the beginning of 2018, when I was really focusing more on the environment for the business. The more I read, the more I learnt, the more I felt this kind of panic, and I would sort of wake up with this unsettled feeling. I don't know when or if you guys have had similar or different symptoms. So eco-anxiety refers to a fear of environmental damage or ecological disaster. And this sense of anxiety is largely based on the current and predicted future state of the environment and human-induced climate change. It makes sense, doesn't it? We're hearing all this news, we're learning all of this stuff. It is a natural response for us to feel like that. Now, creating eco-overwhelm. First of all, it's not healthy living with anxiety or panic. It's not healthy for the way we live, but it's also not healthy in the terms of trying to achieve what we want to achieve. So for our own well-being and that of the environment, let's have a look at how we can overcome it. And as a quick side note, that's why in the Just a Little Bit More Eco course, the 10-week course that I mentioned before, one of the things that I do is provide 4 meditations, one each for the first 4 weeks, where we're really learning a lot about the environment and different topics, because as we learn more, the anxiety certainly can rise. So we provide those specifically designed eco meditations for you. Right, let's have a look. So anxiety and depression can often work in tandem. Anxiety, what it does, it drives this fear of living, and it drives immobilization. It basically sort of enacts the freeze part of the fight, flight, or freeze. And it does that by encouraging us, the individual, to avoid the stimulation. And then the fears overrun any action, and then depression can move in. This is all very high level. This isn't at a sort of a clinical level. But then this depression, this down feeling, saps our energy and dulls our motivation to act. So together they can lead to inactivity and sort of energy draining practices. And it's kind of like this self-perpetuating circle of overwhelm, fear, and inaction. So how do we ease it? What do we do? Something has to change, doesn't it? So first of all, we need to acknowledge that this is okay to feel this way, and we need to talk to others about how we're feeling. Secondly, we need to be mindful of the news and media that we consume. And it's okay to take a break from the bad news stories. I really try and sort of limit my kind of doom scrolling to an extent, and really just sort of learn about the facts, but without trying to sort of, I don't know, just open the floodgates too much to some of the sort of impending doom stories. Focus, so as an alternative, focus on the positive news stories. So I do try and share environmentally hopeful stories, both on Instagram and Facebook, because I think we need to know, one, what we're fighting for, and that what we're fighting for is achievable, that there are people out there doing these things and winning and making it better. And I really think that we need to see those success stories to give us hope and inspire us into our own action. we need to be aware of all the good things you already do for the environment, that we all already do. And I want you to start thinking about all the things that you're already doing. And in a few slides, I'm going to ask people to give me some examples. Again, in the same survey that I asked people about how reading about the environment made them feel, I also asked them to list what they're already doing. And it was just amazing. Everyone is doing so much. So I think we really should, and I talked about this on a couple of Instagram lives last week. This celebration of what we're doing already, we really need to do that. I think we see the big problem and we see it as this insurmountable mountain to climb, and we don't look at everything we don't see how far we've come. So have a think, scribble down in your workbook or a piece of paper or notes on your phone what you're already doing. Spend time outdoors, and even better in nature. I always feel better when I've spent time outdoors, whether it's in the garden or even just walking along the high street, or actually going to the countryside, maybe even the sea. And I don't know about you, if any of you've got kids, my kids certainly behave so much better when they're outside. So this helps de-stress us, but it also reminds us what we're taking action for. Okay. The other thing you need to do is not bury your head in the sand and review your own environmental carbon footprint. We'll be talking more about this tomorrow, and a piece of homework for you tonight is to use the WWF calculator to calculate your own footprint. I think that once we know where we are, we know how we can move. Well, we know where we have to move forward from. We know the problems that we're trying to overcome. Okay, get more educated. I think this is sort of links to the environmental footprint part. You probably already do this. Who reads up on environmental news? Pop a comment in. Who follows eco accounts? I think that this is something that, excuse me, it's all going on there. I think this is something that I certainly really believe in, and it's why I've started running eco courses. Some of you already attended the green cleaning course. Some of you guys are here today, and then obviously in a few weeks' time there'll be the paid course as well. I think that getting educated and understanding more about the issues is a really good way of actually kind of sorting the sensationalism from the reality, and I strongly recommend it. Number 9, I really, really recommend this. Be kind to yourself. Alone, we can't, alone it's a massive burden to shoulder, but together it's so much lighter. We can do this. You're doing the best that you can with the bandwidth that you have, with where you're at in your life, where you're at mentally, emotionally, time-wise, financially. You're doing the best you can. So be kind to yourself, okay? Right. Okay, we talk about sustainability, but we tend to just use this term to refer to the planet. Excuse me, I'm just going to take another sip of water. What could or should it actually mean? So let's take a look. So we need both external and internal sustainability. External sustainability is what we kind of, I think about when we think about sustainability. So encouraging a positive relationship between humans and the planet. We get that. But I think the part that we often forget, and this links back to easing our eco-anxiety, celebrating our wins, being kind to ourselves, not trying to do it all, is this internal sustainability. And this is in forms of activism that are nourishing and resilience-based. Okay, so we need to look after ourselves first. We all know the aeroplane analogy of, putting your own oxygen mask on first. So we need hope. We need to know that our actions are going to lead to improvements in the planet, and that's why we're doing it, so that we're not going to burn out, that we see progress being made, but we're but we know we can't kind of do it all, but we just got to take that first step. Okay. So hope and action. First of all, if we are going to have a negative emotion, so let's just say all that we're reading is pretty terrible. So it's understandable we have negative reactions. Maybe we should try anger instead of anxiety. Now, that's a random thing to say, but let me explain more. So there was a study in the Journal of Climate Change and Health. And it reported back that the more angry Australians reported being about climate change, the more likely they were to engage in collective climate activism and individual efforts in terms of emissions reduction. Those that reported feeling more eco-anxiety and or eco-depression, on the other hand, didn't appear to take more personal actions and were less likely to join in collective actions than those who were feeling super angry. So eco-anger was the strongest and, interestingly, the only predictor of both individual and collective actions. And the takeaway from this report was that it was suggesting that the more intense experiences of frustration and anger in relation to climate change are, the more they're associated with greater attempts to take personal actions to address the issue. So I'm not saying, because any negative emotion isn't great for our health, but if we're feeling negative, let's feel angry and let's do something. Okay, but hope. So even Greta, who has told us our house is on fire, has hope, but it comes with a condition. Let me explain. So she says hope doesn't come from words, hope comes from action. Once we start to act, hope is everywhere. So I'd like to tell you some advice a university professor has given in one of her courses. And this is about coming from kind of anxiety and overwhelm and starting to climb that ladder, starting to take action and starting to kind of feel this hope to basically recover from what she calls eco grief and climate anxiety. So her name is Jennifer Atkinson, and she's a University of Washington professor, and she teaches a course entitled Eco Grief and Climate Anxiety. And basically she has laid down some steps to recover from this eco grief and climate anxiety. So just like we've been talking about earlier on, she says, so like other grief theories, she says the first step is acknowledgement. To acknowledge the anxiety or the anger or the helplessness or any of those negative feelings. And she goes on to say, while grief and mourning are crucial to helping us realize what's at stake, why we're feeling that, what are we grieving when we look at the environment, read about the environment. She says that the needle has to move beyond just dwelling on it, dwelling on these sad and sort of despondent feelings. I think we've done the acknowledgement at the beginning of the session, and hopefully we're just starting to kind of push that needle up the dial a bit. The next rung of the ladder is to take personal or collective action. Collectively, this can be being on the front lines of climate activism, being rallying for change, on a whole range of things from slow or sustainable fashion, the climate, carbon reform, etc., or attending protests or strikes. Individually, we can opt for more ecologically conscious ways of life, and I bet you are already doing this without realizing it. We'll also be talking a bit more about that in a few slides. So we can take the personal or collective action, taking a step forward. Moving from anxiety to action is critical, both for our personal mental health and the health of the planet. However, a bit like Greta, she says it's not hope that drives us into action, it's action that drives us into hope. So just like Greta said, that there is hope everywhere, but we have to start to take some action. Professor Atkinson agrees. So what action are we already taking? Feel free to post your comments in the comments box, and also either on Facebook or on YouTube. But I will also show what some other people. Oh no, I thought I had a slide. It's disappeared. All right, I will have to, at the very end of this, I will call up the YouTube video if I can find it, or maybe I'll post it in the comments, and I'll also post the slide. You can do so many checks, can't you? And then it disappears, or maybe it's hiding somewhere else. Okay, so anyway, maybe it is hiding. Maybe it's in the next bit. So don't worry, it might be here. So please know you are already taking action without even doing anything other than turning up to these workshops. Almost. So how have you done this? In 2 ways. Number 1, by registering for this series of workshops. We have planted 5 trees for every person who registered in partnership with Ecology. So that's going to offset about 1/8 of the carbon output for an average UK citizen. So that's done. You've already knocked off 1/8. Well done. And in a minute, I'm going to go through a task that I would like you to do as homework tonight. And it's very simple. It's install Ecosia. Ecosia is a search engine that plants trees with the profit that they get from your searches. And they plant them where they're needed most in the world. So who has heard of Ecology? I don't know whether you have, so feel free to pop in the comments if you have. They plant trees and fund climate crisis solutions. So they invest in, as well as trees, they invest in projects that remove greenhouse gases. And then they do it to make sure it removes more than your own carbon footprint puts in. So they have protected old growth rainforest in Peru. They've restored peatland in Indonesia. They've converted landfill gas to energy in Turkey, and they are turning a waste biogas into electricity in Thailand. So they're doing, as well as planting trees, they're doing sort of carbon reduction and carbon removal projects. The trees that they plant, they focus on mangroves, and there are a number of reasons for this. I've learned a lot about mangroves, and I think they're pretty cool trees. So scientific studies have shown that mangroves capture and store carbon at a rate of 2 to 4 times greater than mature tropical rainforests. Wow. So whilst we refer to the Amazon as our sort of world's lungs, these guys are sort of the unsung heroes. Obviously we need the rainforest as well, but these guys are great. Oh great, I've got comments coming in. Most of the usual stuff: recycling shampoo bars, reducing plastic waste, zero waste shops, Ecosia, yay! Moved your cats onto insect protein diet. Oh, I'd love to hear more about that. Well, yeah, I've got 2 elderly cats, so that might, maybe I can mix it in paper bags, even better. Dairy-free milks, wow. Sprouted pea, it's favorite milk. My favorite milk so far is oat milk that comes from our, not the ones that come in the sort of long life packets, but the glass ones from our milkman. So yeah, I think once you've found the milk that you like, it's great, isn't it? Lovely. See, you're doing so much. You're doing amazing. Well done. I'm sure the rest of you are too. And I'm sure the people on watching on replay, let me know what you're doing. I know you're doing a lot as well. Yes, so mangroves, like the rainforest, are a type of tropical forest. However, they have evolved to thrive in hot, muddy, salty conditions that would kill most plants. And although they make up less than 1% of all tropical forests around the world, they have a critical role in mitigating climate change because their soils are highly effective carbon sinks. And it's the highest density, carbon density of all terrestrial land-based ecosystems. And they are also hotspots of biodiversity. because they provide a home and a nursery and feeding ground for a wide range of species of fish, birds, insects, reptiles, and apparently there's even a mangrove tiger, which I never heard of. So they are awesome. And they also, because they grow on these kind of coastal bits of land, they also are great storm and tsunami protectors. They kind of lock in that sediment and don't let it all get washed away. So they are fantastic. And that's when ecology are planting trees, that's what they're planting. So Ecosia, certainly one person's heard of Ecosia. Plants trees while you search. They use the profit from your searches to plant trees, and you can get a free browser extension both for your laptop, desktop, but also your phone. And on I don't want to say all operating systems, but there are a lot of operating systems that I've seen. Okay, so I will post this link as well if you don't have it, or you can just Google it. It shows you how to download it. You can install it on your desktop. You can also install it on your mobile, and you just have to make it your preferred search engine. Super easy. So take a moment to think about everything you're doing. We've got one. Mangoes are strange looking. Yes, they are, aren't they? You visited them when you went to Cuba. Yeah, but you had no idea how great they are. Okay, well, you can just, when you think back to that, you can just sort of thank them in your minds about how awesome they were and how much you enjoyed seeing them. So you've made your list, and I found my list. I'm sorry, it's so blurry. It's so annoying. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything I can do to make it less blurry. Sorry, you won't be able to read this very well at all. So many apologies for that. Oh, actually, hang on. If I just... Sorry. Right. Okay. So we are doing so much. So, for example, we've already had one example, but also some others. Buy from no packaging shops, buy locally, recycling anything you can beyond the basic, being mindful of water usage, leave the car at home and as often as I can, recycling, trying to buy things I need rather than I want, trying to reduce plastic use, buying less, recycling, local shopping, etc. All waste recycled, no new clothes purchased, and reduce car usage, eating less meat, eco-friendly cleaning. So there is so much that we're all doing, and we're all doing this together. So sometimes when we feel overwhelmed, it's because we feel alone, that this burden that we see, this responsibility for doing something is just on our shoulders. But actually, we're all in this together. We can support each other, and we can celebrate each other's wins. So well done to everybody for everything that we're doing, for caring, for acting. You know, let's keep going, and let's kind of ease off the let's celebrate rather than criticize ourselves. Okay, so a quick recap. Easing our eco-anxiety. We've gone through, it's okay to feel like this. We should learn more. We should take action, which will lead to hope. We need to focus on the positive, both on our own actions, which I just talked about just now, but also in the news. And we need to realize we are not on our own. We are all together. And finally, we need to be gentle with ourselves and with others. Oh, lovely. I follow plant-based organic diet. When I made a list of personal actions, there were over 100 things, too many to mention here. Congratulations. That is awesome. I know I was saying to somebody the other day that I think I should do this. Maybe I should set this as a challenge to sort of out there on social. But like, there's so many things that I do without even thinking about it, because it's become part of sort of habit. And 100 things, that is awesome. But I bet most of us are pushing 20, 30, 40, 50. Who knows? Yeah. Let's celebrate that. Let's not stop. Let's not rest on our laurels, but let's celebrate. Okay, so I did talk to you about homework, but don't worry, it's not too scary. So just 2 tiny pieces of homework. Number 1, calculate your environmental footprints. There are a number of calculators out there. You can use whichever you like. Tomorrow I will go through a number of different ones and kind of say what they focus on. Some you have to kind of get your have a bit more understanding of like your financials. Some you have to know more about travel or diet or like electronics usage. So none of them are like all encompassing, but a really good starting point is the WWF one. And then I do really like this My Little Plastic Footprint one, because it helps you understand your plastic footprint as well, and then gives you tips, and you can kind of choose like where a particular area that you want to tackle and you want to improve on. So that's what I would like you to do. And also, if you haven't done so already, then install Ecosia as well, because it's just so exciting when you're searching and you see this little counter of like how many trees you've planted, and like I think I'm up to about 1,500 on my desktop, and I don't know, maybe about a good few hundred on my phone as well. Hang on, I haven't put myself on mute. I've just turned off the thing. Okay, great. Okay, so remember I mentioned a prize. Woohoo! So this is a scholarship to the Just a Little Bit More Eco course. This is a 10-week course. It's got videos, challenges, live lessons this year, but then obviously recorded so you can watch on catch up. 856 on your desktop. Happy. I know. And I think that like when you see the trees, I feel like they're coming in from the side and you're actually seeing more trees planted. So it makes me very happy. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I've got too happy about trees. As I said, yeah, recipes. There are 4 plant-based recipes. Family friendly. I've tested them with my family. They're written by Catherine Smith, who is a nutritionist and like a nutrition coach and lifestyle coach. Meditations by a meditation and yoga teacher, Harriet McMaster's Green, and a number of other things. And this launches on the 21st of February. It's worth £249. I've extended it from a 4-week to a 10-week. So there's a beta price of £199. As I said, 50 trees planted through Ecology. So that's enough to offset your whole carbon footprint for a year. And the zero waste plastic-free dental starter kit. So how do you win this prize? All right. Well, you attend all 3 workshops, whether that's live or on replay. Those of you who are live now, you've started already. Well done. And then I'll be, because some of you are watching on YouTube, so I'm not sure. But basically, either on YouTube or on Facebook, just share your biggest light bulb moment, your aha moment from each workshop. And then for a bonus entry, you can share a selfie on social media with the caption "Overcoming My Eco Overwhelm." And I've got the wrong tag there because I recently migrated from Contented Company to Contented Earth. So tag @Contented Earth. Oh, actually, problem is Facebook hasn't changed it yet. So if you are on Instagram, tag @Contented Earth. If you are on Facebook, tag @Contented Company. And I will announce the winner by Sunday, the 13th of February. So what's next? Well, tomorrow is workshop 2. We are live again at 10 a.m. UK time. Obviously, you can watch on catch up. We will actually, shall I come back and say hello? Let me come back and say hello. I'll make myself small so you can still see. Oh, maybe it'll just look a bit silly. Okay. Hello, I'm back. So yes, we will be looking at your environmental footprint, and we will be looking at why you don't have to be eco-perfect. Let's put this slide on. Oh, maybe I do need to make this bigger again. Apologies. Oh, does this work? What does that do? Yay, okay. So sorry. I will try and change this fuzziness for tomorrow. Apologies. So let's remember these words of Anne-Marie Bonneau, who is also known as the Zero Waste Chef. Insert climate change, insert eco action, insert anything. We don't need a handful of people doing whichever action, zero waste perfectly. We need millions of people doing it imperfectly. And another quote to leave you with, which I love. What a great time to be born. We often hear that it's a terrible time to be born, but what a great time to be born. What a great time to be alive, because this generation gets to essentially completely change the world. So yeah, let's use this as a upbeat opportunity rather than being beaten down by it. So how do you feel now? Hopefully this workshop has helped you move that needle just a little bit towards hope through action. And yeah, and I will leave you with that. Let me pop back and yeah. So hopefully you feel more hopeful, and that by sharing that we're all feeling the same, by kind of starting to understand that we'll find out where we are, how to take action, and through that action we will gain hope to celebrate everything that we're already doing all together as a group and individually. And yeah, I hope that we've just started to shed some of this, because it's understandable, but it doesn't really serve us, and it doesn't really serve what we're doing. And then tomorrow we'll look at, well, what is our impact, and how can we let's not worry about being perfect. Let's celebrate imperfect too. Calculated the footprint used WWF, found it very basic, like a more detailed one. Yes, tomorrow I can't remember whether there's 2 or 3 more. I can't remember exactly. I will check that out. Yes, I know what you mean. It is rather basic. There are some that are a bit clunkier and a bit older, and you kind of need to know, like, what am I spending on X? And so some of them you need a bit more sort of information to hand. But yes, I will share a few, and I think you kind of get like I've done them all, and they all come up with slightly different answers about certainly my carbon footprint. But I think that they probably all highlight the same sort of areas that I can take action. But yes, I will be sharing at least 2 more. It might be 3 more tomorrow. So I hope that helps. Anyway, guys, I will. And well, first of all, bearing in mind there's a bit of a time lag, but are there any questions you'd like me to answer now? Or shall I give you back 13 minutes of your morning just before we hit 11 o'clock? Just let me know, pop in the comments there. Otherwise, I hopefully will see through your comments. You will see me, my face, and I will sort out that. Actually, now it's gone small. It looks kind of it looks less fussy, doesn't it? I would definitely work on the tech tomorrow, or I will put the YouTube link in the comments. Yeah, I will see you here tomorrow at 10. No worries if you can't attend. Once it's been recorded, it will be available on Catch Up, so both on YouTube and Facebook. So yeah, just watch whenever you can. All right, guys. Okay, lovely. If you can't, I'll see you on Thursday. You can watch the Wednesday one on Catch Up, whatever works for you. I just want to make it super easy. But take care, everybody, and I will see you same time, same place tomorrow.